Once a powerhouse of English football, Everton Football Club now find themselves clinging to history, fighting to stay afloat in the modern game. A club with a rich past, a passionate fan base, and a desperate need for a new direction. But in this FM24 rebuild, I am taking charge of Goodison Park with one goal: to restore pride, compete with the elite, and take Everton back to the top of English football. The Toffees are ready for a new era. Are you? G'day everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a brand new rebuild. This is the Everton rebuild, and yes, for now, 2 weeks in a row, last week being the Man United rebuild and this week being the Everton rebuild, I've done my two worst teams to rebuild, but it is what it is. Everton, again, a club that has been struggling massively for decades, and that's not putting it lightly. They have been struggling for decades, whether it be on the pitch or off the pitch, close to relegation, close to bankruptcy and all that sort of stuff. They are in trouble, but I am here to rebuild them in a 5-year rebuild to see if I can take them back to the top and win the league. So let's go into it. And as you can see, we are at the 31st of August. I have also zipped on, basically I simulated one full season into it, so I could basically start my season at the beginning point of the 2024 season starting. So just to make that clear, as you can see, we've also played a few games before I have a look at transfers, and not a bad start to the season actually. Brentford, we beat them 2-0. We lost at Spurs 2-0, unfortunately. Beat Sheffield United in the Carabao Cup, and unbelievably, a Merseyside derby win at the new stadium, the Bramley Moor Dock, which I don't believe it's called that anymore. I'll put the name of that up here in a second. But yeah, in the brand new stadium, that's why I've zipped it forward to that starting point. And yeah, good result, really good result. Now, obviously, financially, everybody knows Everton are struggling financially. They have a whopping debt of 828 million left.
What the fuck?
That is painful. That is painful. I do have some transfer budget left, so we're going to have a look at the transfers and see who has been brought in. Now, before the takeover, I'm going to sort this out. I did also make this a little bit of a realistic rebuild. So I brought in a couple of players that have either already been brought into Everton or are on the verge of being brought in. So, not really much going on before the takeover on players leaving. A lot of loans. Mason Holgate leaving on a free transfer. Here's what it is. But I did bring in Tieno Barry, which is a real-life transfer from Villarreal, and also Carlos Alcaraz, making his transfer permanent as well, so he has been brought in. There were a couple of players that were brought in by the game on the January transfer window and obviously beforehand, but none of these are mine until we go on to this point. And I sold another £20 million worth of players. Roy Revivo was a player that I didn't buy, so he's gone. Michael Golding and Vitor Rice have both gone to Brentford, randomly enough, for reasonable prices. And a lot of loans, again, a lot of loans. I got rid of a couple of the older players as well, Tarkowski being the main one. He's gone to Hull on loan. Because, again, another thing, in the Everton squad, quite a few older players in there, so I want to try and make the squad a little bit younger, which I think I've started quite well with. So, first and foremost, I've brought Lloyd Kelly back from Italy after he left the country. He left Newcastle, went to Juventus, played a little bit, but he was up on the transfer list, and I thought, you know what, bring him in as a replacement for Tarkowski. Struggling to say that one. And I think he's a decent replacement, actually. He'll fill a gap for the moment, anyway. Enzo Baranchea from Aston Villa for $5 million has been brought in as another deep line playmaker. Never used the player, whether he'll get some game time or not, I don't exactly know. He's only 2.5 stars, so again, more of a squad player. Christian Aslani is actually one of the players, a creative outlet in the centre of midfield. He's really, really good on this game. In the game mechanics, he actually is really, really good. I don't know what he's like in real life, but I think he fits the model of what Everton would be looking for. And for $5.5 million for that sort of midfielder, pretty decent. And then finally, one of my favourites on the game, and I would not be surprised if, again, Everton invested like this and is more of a player to replace Tarkowski, Martin Vitic, the really rapid centre-back from Czechia, Sparta Prague, played over 100 games for them now, but Mr. Consistent, really good at heading, really tall guy, and for somebody who's so tall, being that quick is outstanding. You don't usually get that at all. But if we have a look at the squad is very much stacked out. I've got a lot of players in here, and for the fact that we've only played 3 competitions, not 4 this season, I'm hoping that some of these players will get a little bit more game time, but if they don't, so be it. There's going to be a lot of changes over these next 5 years, just put it that way. Especially somebody with his ability, shall I say. I mean, I don't like Pickford, personally. I don't think he's a very good goalkeeper. But I know others that do like him, so I can guarantee it, he's not going to be sticking around. Just put it that way. Tactically wise, get off the dynamics. I've gone for the bog standard 4-2-3-1. I thought it was the best option for us. If I do a pick without restriction, look at our best 11. We have got... Oh, actually, here's one that I didn't sign, but really surprised me. Eberechi Eze from Crystal Palace was signed by Everton last season for 37 million. I could not believe Everton pulled that one off in the game. I'm stunned at that, but I'll take it because he's a brilliant player. So Nathan Patterson, Jordan Pickford, Vitic, Branthwaite and Mikalenko, Garner, who is brilliant on here as well, Højbjerg, Eze, McNeil, Timothy Weir, who is an American winger / striker. He's another one that got brought in last season on the game, and not a bad player either. I'll take it. And then Beto being the football manager GOAT, I suppose you could call him, on here. Overpowered, not really lived up to it in real life, but hopefully I'll get a better return out of him, and it looks like that has happened. 4 games, 3 goals, not too bad at all. So that, as I say, the competitions wise, we've already started the season. 2 wins, 1 loss, 6 points, not too bad in the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup for this season. So without further ado, let's roll the season 1 highlights and find out how we do in our first season. I'm actually hoping for a good cup run and maybe a mid-table finish. Let's go and see how we do. This season, frankly, was all about survival. Embarrassing losses though to Derby in the Carabao Cup and then losing to Forest earlier on in the FA Cup proved to be a positive in the end. In the league, despite beating the likes of Liverpool, Man United and Aston Villa, it was our horrible form in October and January that really cost us in the end, as we finished just outside the European spots in 9th position. Well, we didn't have a cup run, but we did have a mid-table finish. So 1 out of 2 is not too bad. As you can see from here, looking at the stats, we finished 9th here, losing 14 games, but there was a lot of 1-0s there, which again shows me that we're not scoring enough goals. As you can see, we conceded 41, but only scored 52. 54 points is a decent return. That's not too bad, but all in all, it's a little bit disappointing, to say the least. So yeah, I'm not too happy. Well, I'll say not too happy. I'm reasonably happy with the progress, but the other issue I've got is that I can't show you guys the rest of the cup material or the squad positions and their stats for last season because the save file got corrupted. But what I can show you is that the debt has slowly crept down. I think we started off about 840 odd million, so we've managed to knock off about 70 million, which isn't too bad at all. And also, if we actually have a look at the income, last season, 280 million on the income for last season. That's not bad at all. And if we have a look at like sort of the gate receipts, match day income, increasing match day income, 2.5 million just off that now that we moved into the new stadium, so that's not too bad at all either. Also, another thing I want to highlight before we zip on to season number 2, and I can show you a few other bits and pieces, is the staffing situation. Now, Everton don't start off with the best staff. I have adjusted the staff as best as I possibly can. I've brought in the best coaches I possibly can, but they won't give me any more room, so this is about as good as it's going to get at the moment until I can start bringing in some more success. But I did find, I don't know whether you guys have seen this at all, this guy here, Carlos Martinho, who is Portuguese but played over as, well, sorry, was a coach over in Brazil, and he was an assistant manager for Braga, a coach at Sporting. But this guy's an assistant manager. If you find him, Carlos Martinho, brilliant assistant manager. So I highly recommend that you go out and get him if you're struggling to find a decent one for your save. But without further ado, I'm going to go and load up season number 2 to see what sort of transfers we make to try and improve our fortunes that we've lacked on a little bit. So, as you can see, we are here at season number 2. We're on the 31st of August 2026, so we have played a couple of games, and the fact that I can see a 1-0 loss to Leicester already is a little bit annoying to say the least. But having a quick look at the schedule, it's not been a too bad a start to the season either. A 2-2 draw at Brentford, a 1-0 loss at Leicester, beating Coventry 3-2, beating Leicester 1-0, and beating Brighton 3-1. Now, Brighton, that's a good result, because they're a team that are going to be in and around us hopefully this season. Including a 0-0 draw against PSG in the pre-season friendlies. So that's not too bad. I'll take that. Transfers-wise, yeah, we're a little bit under the wage budget, but I have quite a sizable transfer budget. There's been quite a few movers and shakers, to say the least. So, before the tick over, I'll get these in date order, and I'll get them in date order if we have a look at who went. Oop, up there. So, Tierno Barry lasted only 1 season. He didn't get any game time at all, which I can actually show you now because the save file corrupted. He played 1 game. 1 game off the bench, and that was it. So I sold him to Sunderland, made a loss on him, but it is what it is. And Ilman Ndiaye has gone to Wolves for nearly up to 16 million, 17 million price, which isn't too bad, and just, again, a lot of loans. But again, before the tick over, I brought in 3 other players. Now, I did say that I was going to get rid of Pickford, and unbelievably, Brighton put Bart Verbruggen on the transfer list. Snapped him up straight away. Was not messing around. This guy will be better than Pickford. By far. By far. But then also, another problem that we had last season was goals. So I brought in 2 of the most creative strikers I can think of on the game. Marcus Leonardo from Al Hilal for 8.5 million. Rapid, composed, great movement off the ball, excellent finishing. Only 24 years old, so he could definitely improve. 3 games, no goals. Not the best start. Okay, 3 off the bench, 1 start. Okay, bring him in slowly, sort of thing. But then one of my all-time favourite players on FM24, Franco Mastantuono. 7.5 million from River Plate. This guy is incredible. 5-star potential ability. He has come in to the side as my attacking midfielder to play behind. As you can see on the tactics, I've pinned both of them in to get as much game time as possible. But that is not all. If we go after the takeover point, brought in another 30 million in transfers. 10 million for Marco Pellegrino, he's gone to Al Hazem. Nicolas Sanchez has gone to Leeds for 7.5. Carlos Alcaraz has left after 1 season as well to Southampton. Fabio Blanco has gone to Burnley, and just a couple of the small ones. Jake O'Brien, the big Irish centre-back, he's gone to Sassuolo, and Carl Jakob Hein has gone to Ipswich for 800k. Ultimately bringing in another 30 million, which is pretty decent. That covers the cost of what I bought already, but spent another 10 million on bringing a couple more players in, including a couple of free transfers. I went back to Brighton. I got young English goalkeeper James Beadle, who actually in real life had a really good under-21s tournament with England, and he's actually rated in real life actually a lot higher than what he is here, so he could be a future England goalkeeper. We just don't know. But as a backup behind Verbruggen, I was quite happy to bring him in. Conrad Lima. He's an absolute baller on this game. Look at his mental attributes. As a defensive midfielder, I couldn't resist it. Even at 30 years old, I thought just bringing in that experience, and he loves the big games. He's really consistent. I can't fault it. I really can't fault it. It's a free transfer. Okay, he's on 100k a week, but even still, yeah, his experience is going to be invaluable. Ahmed Aimer is a regen from Zamalek. You never know. I might be getting my own Salah for Everton, but at 18 years old, will we see him at 2.5-star ability? Probably not. He was actually rated in the next gen list. That's where I picked him up from. But as soon as I brought him in, he just dropped down in potential ability, probably because of his temperamental personality. Not my wisest signing, so we'll see what happens with him. Badruddin Bouanani from Nice as a £3 million right winger. Again, fills out that. It's just another backup squad player, but he's still a very good player. Up to 4-star ability. He's got it all there, and he can improve. And then finally, I wanted another centre-back, but I needed it to be English. Ashley Phillips from Spurs, now up to 34 million. Haven't played him too much or on the game or bought him before, so I don't actually know what I'm going to get with him here. Will he develop? I don't know. Depends whether he can get past Vitic or Branthwaite at centre-back, to be fair. And that is the transfers concluded. Tactics-wise, as I say, I've got Leonardo and Mastantuono put into the side there, but if I do a pick without restrictions best 11, Eze and Beto come straight in. And basically, it's identical team bar the goalkeeper. And that is it. So it's going to be a rough season, but I'm hoping now that the squad's a little bit more settled and there's a few of the players I wanted out and I've improved some of the players for that position. I'm hoping for second season again, maybe an outside chance of getting like Conference League football or Europa League football. But let's go and find out on the Season 2 highlights. Fingers crossed I can actually hit the European football mark this time and bring in some extra money for the club. Let's go and find out, shall we? It's looking like domestic cup success will have to wait another season, after early exits to Spurs and Man United in the Carabao and the FA Cup. But the silver lining is, combining with our new signings, our league form was excellent. Despite the inconsistent form earlier on, wins like a 3-1 versus Brighton, a 5-1 versus Fulham, and a 3-0 versus Arsenal all helped secure us a 7th place finish and Europa League football for next season. Well, it's like the game's listening to me. Woohoo! Come on. European football, thank you very much. League table, we finish in the Europa League spots. Because of all the stuff that's been divvied out, the Champions League has been topped off by the top 5. We're in the Europa League spots. We finished on 62 points, so that's an improvement from last season. Although we had a horrible end to the season looking at it. 1 draw and 3 losses. Games that we really shouldn't be losing. Also, fair play to Bolton, who came up last season and they actually survived even though they got a 6-0 whooping off us on the last game of the season. That's pretty impressive in itself. But yeah, still conceding too many, and we did throw it away at the end of the season, dropping 11 points. Dropping those 11 points, we missed out on Champions League football. Damn, that's bad. But again, it's more domestic woes when it comes to the competitions, because we know Everton have a good domestic cup competition record when it comes to FA Cups particularly, but getting beaten by Man United and Spurs early doors doesn't help, but it does kind of help our league season. Squad wise as well, our highest goal scorer is Mastantuono. Beto has fallen off a cliff. Leonardo didn't really hit the ground at all, only 8 goals. I'm really hoping that's just a bedding in season. One more season chance, that's all he's getting. But Mastantuono, let's have a look at him because his improvement is amazing. Dribbling, first touch and technique all into the 16s now. Flair of 18, composure of 16. Outstanding, absolutely outstanding. Cannot fault that. I'm getting the best out of Mastantuono and his value's gone up as well. 12 goals, 6 assists and 27 starts is very, very good. But besides that, James Garner had a really good season. Over a 7 average rating, 8 assists, 4 goals. But the rest of them, not good enough. Not good enough at all. Well, for season number 3, I think it is going to be not a complete rebuild again, but there are definitely going to have to be improvements made. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I could bring in some really, really good signings with the money that I've got, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed, season number 3 is a hit. Let's go and find out and see what we do. So here we are for the start of season number 3, and we are well into the rebuild, and I think we have stabilised the club. Now 2 seasons, a mid-table finish and European football for this season as well. I'm quite happy with that. But with the £58 million that I had in the transfer budget, we have about 14 million left. Financially wise as well, we are in the red on the balance, which is not good at all, but we're down to 730 million, so I've knocked about 110 million off the debt. Not too bad. Hopefully European football will bring in a little bit more than that. But transfers wise, well, it has been quite busy, to say the least. So before the tick over, if I get these rearranged, a couple of players left before the save point. Baranchea has gone to Hull, didn't work out, he didn't play any games. Just not good enough at the end of the day, 1.4 million. And Lloyd Kelly has gone to Brentford for 8.5 million. Then I brought in one player before the tick over, and also a player that I didn't realise I'd signed, or I completely forgot I signed, until I loaded this season up, and that was Vasilis Zagaritis, who is a free transfer from last season. He joined right on deadline day as a left back, but has already left after 1 season. So I brought him in as a free transfer. He played 21 games as a backup left back behind Mikolenko. He wasn't too happy with that. Saudi Arabia came calling. He's gone for 21 million. That's good business. I'll take that. But the best bit of business I did before the tick over was bringing in another player who I think could really, really propel us forward. That's Jacob Ramsey, but not from Aston Villa, from West Ham. That's even weirder. Jacob Ramsey is a player who I've never bought on this game before, never used him before, but he went to West Ham for 31.5 million. I bought him for 36.5 million. He had a couple of decent seasons at West Ham, and I brought him in because, one, he's English. I needed some more players of homegrown quality for Europe, but he is excellent, and he can get better, I think, with a couple more years experience. So I'm very, very hopeful with that one. Then, £128 million after the tick over on the outs. 55 million on Dwight McNeil to Al Ittihad. Beto has left for 21.5 million. To say Zagaritas, as I've already covered. Pickford has gone to Brighton. Weird. We get Verbruggen. They take Pickford. Work it out. And then Ceballos and Højbjerg have both gone to Al Riyadh for 11.5 million and 7.5 million. And they just a lot of loans and smaller transfers as well, which allowed me to spend over another 112 million, another 100 odd million. But first and foremost, I brought another goalkeeper on a free transfer. Restes. Wow. Restes and Verbruggen as Everton's first and second choice goalkeepers. Everton fans will be in dreamland with this one. What a goalkeeper he is. Everybody knows about Restes now. Very, very good goalkeeper on the game. Just the one thing that lets him down is his aerial reach, because he's not the tallest of goalkeepers, but the rest of it he makes up for by far. And then, let's go in smallest order first. Vanderson from Arsenal, not Monaco, 6.5 million, coming in as a backup right back, but I think he may start over Patterson, possibly. I think they're going to have a good battle this season to see who takes it. Rodrigo Moura, Portuguese wonderkid who plays for Porto at the moment, very highly rated in real life. He went to PSG, didn't really work out. They put him on the transfer list. I said, thank you very much, I'll take him. Very, very determined. Great vision. I think if we can get the best out of him, he could be a really, really good player for us. Then, John Mellberg. Now, who here remembers Johan Mellberg? The Swedish centre-back who played for Aston Villa and various other clubs. This is his son, who currently plays for Salzburg in real life and has developed into a very similar sort of player to his dad. And I thought, you know what, I haven't played him before, I haven't bought him before, so I'll take a chance and see how that one works out. A left-footed, very strong centre-back. Jason Jones is an Welsh regen from Southampton, centre-back / defensive midfielder. I'm going to go centre-back. Brave, great positioning, great teamwork, good work rate, passing and tackling and technique. I think this guy could definitely be one for the future, and again helps with the homegrown quota further on down the line. Then I wanted obviously another left-back to compete with Mikalenko, but obviously to replace Zagaritas. Josh Doig, Scottish from Sassuolo after he left Hibernian to Verona and then went to Sassuolo. I've bought him before and I know he's a really, really consistent, good left back on this game, and it shows. Great physicals, good mentals and technicals, does exactly what it says on the tin. To my mind, actually looks like a bit of a younger version of Andy Robertson. Then another striker brought in, George Ilinakena from Monaco. Another one I've never bought before, but another one who's highly rated. 4-star ability, 45 million value already. Very pacey, good 15s in all the right areas there. 15 finishing, first touch and dribbling, great. Anticipation 15, off the ball 14, only 22 years old. Could this be the guy that's going to replace Marcus Leonardo? If Leonardo doesn't perform, we will see. And then finally, Dario Eusebio from Portugal, 23 years old, a defensive midfielder, just bulks out those midfield options because I've gone for a slightly different formation. With the sale of Dwight McNeil and the fact that the other wingers just weren't that good and I had such good attacking midfielders, I thought I'd draw them in a little bit and make a narrow 4-2-3-1 to see how this works out. And I've pinned in Eze, Mastroianni and Ramsey as my three choices to see how these guys get on this season. And I'm going to let the strikers battle it out, whether it be Leonardo or Ilinakena. We will see. But if we do a best pick without restriction, it sticks Ramsey there and Rainier there. I want Mastroianni just to get as much game time as possible. Aslani and Garner are the two centre midfielders, and Patterson, Vitic, Branthwaite and Doig. So Mikalenko's out and Restes overtakes Verbruggen. Tough choices. Looking at the staff-wise, I have replaced a few of the other staff, and I've managed to bring in some better ones as well. But there's another one as well. I said on the previous season, Carlos Martino is a really, really, really good assistant manager, and so Newcastle thought as well, annoyingly. So I had to go out and get another assistant manager, and I brought in Michael Beale. Again, former assistant manager at Luton, but also in real life he was the manager at QPR, Rangers and Sunderland. Very, very good assistant manager on this game again. Couldn't believe he actually wanted to come in. I believe actually, yeah, he's an ex-Liverpool youth coach as well, so he knows Merseyside pretty well, and I brought him in. So that is all the transfers and everything caught up to date with for season number 3. Let's go roll the highlights and see how we get on in our first season back in Europe for God knows how long. Let's go see what we could do. The curse of the domestic cups continues after yet again early exits to Brentford and Man United again. In the league, it was our early and late season form that was excellent, picking up wins versus Newcastle 2-1, Man United 5-1, Leeds 2-0 and Aston Villa 4-0 that helped us secure 6th spot and more Europa League football for next season. And speaking of Europa League football, this was our first venture into Europe since 2017 and we did ourselves proud, winning 7 of our first 8 fixtures, including the scalps of Lazio and Sporting, to qualify top of the league phase. It was back to Lazio for the round of 16 and we nudged past them just 1-0. But next it was Chelsea in the quarterfinals and we were humbled. No two ways about it, as they stomped over us 6-1 on aggregate. Well, you know what? I will take that. A season of more consistency. The problem that we could have faced was that the squad wasn't strong enough and we may have missed out on European football, but we haven't. We got Europa League football again, which I think is where we're about at the moment. But this time around, 20 wins. It was the draws that let us down. 0-0 against Bournemouth at home, 1-1, a 0-0, and a 0-0, and a 1-1 again. Again, cost us Champions League football. Silly little points being dropped. That's annoying. We're on the cusp of getting Champions League football again. We're close. We are close. If you have a look at the other competitions as well, 4th round knockout in the FA Cup is not good enough. And again, a 3rd round knockout by the Carabao Cup, I have no answers for that at all. I have no idea. But a good run in the Europa League is exactly what we wanted. League phase, finishing top in our first season back in Europe is no mean feat. That is an excellent run. 7 wins and 1 draw. Cannot knock that at all. Round of 16, obviously knocking Lazio out narrowly, 1-0, and then getting to the quarterfinals. And then coming up against Chelsea is just mean. And we got whooped. We got utterly whooped, and I think Chelsea showed their European pedigree a little bit there. If we have a look at the squad as well, Leonardo did okay, 18 goals and 5 assists. Eze though, 16 and 12. Rainier, actually, shout out to him because he's not a player I've used that much, but attribute-wise, solid all the way around. Very good attacking midfielder, but he's been at Everton now for 4 years. He came in on a free before I joined up as manager, and he's been very consistent all the way through. Not a bad player at all. So he picked up 15 and 6. Mastantuono, 11 and 9. 7 and 6 from Jacob Ramsey in his first season. Not too bad at all. And just a few other bits and pieces, but the average ratings are better as well, which is what I'm looking for. Josh Doig at left back, 9 assists. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. At right back though, where are my right backs? Vanderson, 1 goal, 2 assists. Looks like Patterson was the starter. He got 5 assists. Ooh, that's going to be an interesting battle. Financially wise as well, rolling into season number 4, we got a decent balance. We've got 61 million in the budget there, and we're below the 700 million mark now in the debts. So that's not too bad at all. I'll take that. Let's go and have a look at season number 4, and can we just take that leap further forward and qualify for the Champions League in season number 4? Let's go and find out, shall we? Well, here we are at season number 4 with what can only be said as a very hopeful season ahead. Financially wise, yeah, we're in the red big time. I've spent a lot of the transfer budget. Probably not the best idea. Also, in the meantime as well, actually, I will say this, and I know I've not said it over the last couple of seasons. If we have a look at the board stuff, it's just been coaching courses and things like that. Because if we have a look at the club info, come on, hurry up. the reputation and the training facilities and all that are very, very good. They don't need improving. So literally all the money has just been ploughed into staff, transfers and all that sort of thing. I have managed to get another coach to come in. I've managed to get a few more scouts. So it's slowly but surely, season number 4, we've actually stacked out on the goalkeeping, coaching, attacking and technical as well. So that's not too bad at all. But transfers wise, so before the tick over, there was a couple of movements, or sorry, one movement should I say, on the ins and then a couple on the outs to say the least. Verbruggen left. He's gone to Al Duhal for 12.5 million. Timothy Weah, because obviously I'm not playing wingers anymore, he's gone to Fulham for 14.5. And then I brought in one player before the tick over, and that was Adam Wharton, obviously Crystal Palace player in real life, but he was at Leeds at this point. 39 million, another English centre midfielder, really, really good player. He went from, what? I've never seen that before on this game. He usually goes for so much money, but he's gone to Leeds from Palace after one season. And then that must have been a relegation release clause at that point. And then we bought him after 4 seasons at Leeds for 39 million. Does exactly what it says on the tin. Great first touch, great passing, great technique. Really good passer of the ball in the centre of midfield. Then another 96 million made on the outs. 31 million for Eusebio. He's gone. Mikolenko wasn't happy, so he's gone for 34 million because he lost his place to Josh Doig. And Conrad Lima, I had to sell because he refused to sign another contract. But bearing in mind, by the end of the season, he's going to be 33. His physicals were on the down, and I flogged him to Arsenal for 30 million. I think that's a really good bit of business, to be fair. Buonani's gone for 8 million to Leicester. Mosquera has gone to Burnley for 4.5 million, and then it's just small loans, bits and pieces there. Then, starting from the bottom, Slobodan Jovanovic from Vojvodina. On the next gen list, 19-year-old regen Serbian striker. I could not resist this one. Great dribbling, great passing and technique, not so bad finishing, but flair, determined, rapid pace and acceleration. This guy could be really, really good down the line. Maybe next season, we will see, but yeah, he's a good player. For 2.5 million, couldn't resist it. Gustavo da Silva from Palmeiras in Portugal. Another one, 5-star potential ability. I may end up getting him out on loan come January time to see whether he settles in or not. We'll take it from here, but 9.5 million, I think that's a decent investment. Jevon Simons from Man United, Dutch player. Now, I need to have a look at this, actually. Is he related to Xavi? It doesn't actually say on here. It may be related to Xavi Simons. I don't know. Answer in the comments down below. Played for PSV and then Zult Waregem, and then went to Man United. Didn't really get any games. He was on the transfer list. I brought him in as another attacking midfield option because I think he's got really good vision, great first touch and dribbling, great agility. So I think he could turn on the ball and create a lot. It's just his teamwork that lets him down. That's the problem. And then a couple of more players got brought in. Adrian, no, not the Liverpool goalkeeper Adrian. 20-year-old regen Spanish left back, could actually oust Doig at left back. I mean, great flair and first touch for a left back. Obviously seen on the game maybe as a winger more, but he can play at left back, so I brought him in as a backup. And then Charles Shepherd from Leicester, another regen, English centre back, 5-star potential ability. I think this guy could be amazing. I may possibly, he's already picked up a couple of sub appearances, he may get some more game time this season, hopefully, and then hopefully next season we'll see a bit more of him there. But that was for 39. We spent over 100 million on the transfer window. That's not bad at all. Not bad at all. But I've changed the formation again. One thing that I kept on picking up on over the seasons was, it wasn't just the creativity that we were lacking, and I've replaced that now. I wanted to get more goals. So the only way I'm going to do that is put another striker up top. And Master Antoine, I think, is either the most genius shadow striker on the game or one of the best deep line forwards. So I'm trying him out as a DLF to see how it works, because if I go on here and put him as a DLF, he's got pretty much all the attributes. He's still only 22, he can improve on that, and he's consistent, and he likes the big games, so I don't see why he can't do a job there. That's why I put him in. But if I do a picker out restriction, best 11, he gets swapped around. Master Antoine goes up as the advanced forward and Leonardo goes as the DLF. I don't particularly want that. It may be wrong, it may be right. We'll see. Then we've got Ramsey and Eze, Wharton and Garner this time, Branthwaite, Vitic, Patterson, Doig and Restes. Restes is now our number 1, and it's just an excellent goalkeeper. Really, really good goalkeeper. Cannot fault him in the slightest. I'm really excited about this season. I'm hoping this formation actually propels us into that Champions League spot. So, without further ado, let's go and roll those Season 4 highlights and see, can we finally get that Champions League football that we've been after, or even just a little bit of silverware. That'd be bloody nice, wouldn't it? Let's go and see what we could do. In the league, it was a matter of consistency again. A decent start was marred by a bad Christmas period. But securing wins like a 6-2 versus Chelsea, a 4-3 versus Spurs, and a 4-0 versus Aston Villa helped secure us another European finish in 6th place. In the Carabao, it was a quarter-final exit to Newcastle, but in the FA Cup, it was a different story altogether. After beating Stoke, Oxford, Portsmouth and Bournemouth, it was Southampton in the semi-finals, and Jovanovic was our hero in the 95th minute to send us to the final versus Spurs. And in a classic for the ages, it was newcomer who was the hero, bagging a brace very late on to win Everton the FA Cup. But we still had the Europa League too, as we crushed the league phase, winning 8 out of 8, and it was Benfica next. After beating them 6-2 on aggregate, we had Zagreb, and we comfortably dispatched them 6-2 as well. In the semi-finals, it was a tougher test versus Napoli, but thanks to the home result of 2-0, we did just enough to go through and face Marseille in the final. And in a one-sided game, it was Leonardo, Ramsey and newcomer that did the job for us as we romped home to win the Europa League final. Well, I said I wanted to get some silverware and some Champions League football, and we only went and did both. Amazing season, amazing season. Let's go and have a look at the league table first. Okay, so we have got the Champions League qualification. I'll show you the Europa League in a second. But obviously we did finish 6th. We did finish 8 points off the Champions League spot, even though... What? Wolves? Wolves finished in the Champions League spot, even though they lost the last 4 games of the season. Wow. Does that mean Wolves could... Hang on. That's 12 points they dropped there. If they won all those games, Wolves could have won the league title. That's nuts. But obviously, we're in the Champions League because we won the Europa League. Yes, European trophy. Brilliant stuff. If we have a look at the league phase again, topped it off. 2 more points, higher than when we did last season. Can't fault it. Round of 16. 6-2 on aggregate against Benfica. Brilliant result. 6-2 again against Dinamo Zagreb. Semi-finals, a close one, 3-2 against Napoli, and then Marseille in the final, and we just whooped them. That is a fantastic result. And also, if we have a look at the club info and have a look at the history, our first ever UEFA Europa League, or as would have been back in the olden days, it would have been the UEFA Cup. So that's the first one in the club's history. Quite pleased about that, to be fair. And then also, to top it off, we only claimed our 6th FA Cup after beating Spurs in an epic final. 3-4 was ridiculous. So we go to the 3rd round, we beat Stoke 3-1, 4th round, we beat Oxford 2-1, a couple of reasonably easy first ties, and then we beat Portsmouth 4-1, so we had a decent run. Then in extra time, beating Bournemouth 4-1, semi-finals, beating Southampton. So 3 South Coast teams on the bounce, knocked them all out, and obviously Spurs in the final. It was really, really good. I'm really chuffed with that, to be fair. Restes played every single game this season, 62 of them. Goals-wise, now this is what I wanted. Leonardo has settled in, and he has come in clutch for this season. His composure's got better, his acceleration and agility's got better, and it showed this season. That change of formation really seemed to work. 25 and 7. For him, Mastantuono, 21 and 21 in 49 games. Now, here's the fun. I put him in, but then I took him out again, and he got played as a shadow striker and as a advanced forward as well. So, yeah, it wasn't really working as the DLF side of things. I think if I remember rightly, I stopped in the January transfer window. as I usually do, and I just changed it around a little bit and took him out and let the game decide for me, assistant manager, and it kind of worked. Slobodan Jovanovic, the Serbian striker who I didn't actually expect to get much game time this season. 24 starts, 22 off the bench, 15 goals. Wow! What an improvement. Driven wonder kid. What a wonder kid this could be. Oh, and we still got another season to go. Ilnakena, 6 starts, 13 goals. That's pretty damn good as well. Has he made an improvement as well? A little bit in his anticipation and that. So that's not too bad. Still 23, so plenty of time for him. Rainier, 13 and 7, 12 and 13 from Jacob Ramsey. Now that is a good season. 10 and 2 from 9 starts for Aslani. 61 starts for Adam Wharton. 7 goals, 7 assists. This is great. Look at the assists. 16 assists from Vanderson and 13 from Patterson. So a lot of our stuff came down the right hand side by the looks of it, because 5 and 5, both assists from Adrian and Josh Doig on the left hand side. The right hand side was obviously dominant for us this season. Wow, what a season that is. And going into the final season, we have 70 million to spend. The debt has come down by a couple of $100 million now, which isn't too bad at all. That wasn't the target really, but... So, for season number 5, we have Champions League football. Can we make a good show of ourselves? That's what I want. I don't want embarrassment in the Champions League. Can we actually qualify for the Champions League or win another domestic title? Let's go and have a look at season number 5, see how we spend that money and see how we get on. So, here we are for season number 5, the 5th and final season. Oh, it's come down to the wire. Okay, so we picked up some silverware. I don't want to rest on our laurels for that, so... Europa League success and FA Cup success. I still want more. I want more. So let's have a look at the financial situation. It is looking dire again. Just the debts. It's the debts. 640. It's just costing so much money. I'm keeping the wage budget well within what I need, and I'm spending the transfer budget and bringing other players in and selling other players out. But financially, they just don't. Everton don't seem to manage that well, to be fair. Transfer history. So, before the tick over, if I get this back in date order, there was no players on the ins. I wanted to wait. On the outs, however, though, there were a couple of sales, to say the least. Ashley Phillips and John Melberg, 18 million and 15 million, they both left, and a couple of loans. Then after that, another 17.5 million brought in. Christian Aslani, obviously he didn't get much game time last season, so he's gone to Bournemouth for 17.5 million. And then I brought in 3 other players, and I spent big just on 1 player. But the 2 players I brought in on free transfers stack out our squad even more. In a weird twist of irony, Naipan, I got on a free transfer from Man City just after he signed for Man City in real life. And this isn't on an up-to-date transfer database either. So that was a weird little twist of fate. But Naipan on a free transfer from Man City when he really hasn't played a lot, which is what I kind of fear for him in real life. Is that an image of things to come in real life? Who knows? Then Lewis Ferguson, another Scottish midfielder, keeping up with that Scottish theme for the Everton squad. Very good mentals, very good physicals. 31 years old now though. Yeah, okay, but it's a free transfer. And I needed somebody to replace Aslani. This is the replacement. And then finally, Asa Munoz from Bilbao at 69 million centre-back. I wanted to improve our centre-backs. You know what? Actually, it's really hard to find one that was going to improve on Branthwaite or Vitic. This guy does. Heading is 17, brave 19, decisions, concentration 14 and 16, reasonably composed, really good positioning, great teamwork and work rate, and the physicals are going to improve just off this season alone. Valued over 100 million already, and a 5-star potential ability. Can't knock that. That was his release clause, by the way. That's 69 million. I know it's a bit of a risk just throwing it all in on one player, but I honestly don't think we needed it that much when you look at the squad. We have got a really good squad now. Have a look at it. Beadle's backup, Restes, Branthwaite, Munoz, Vanderson, Shepherd. Shepherd, by the way, I forgot to show last season. He played 28 games, 23 starts, 24 off the bench. Had a really, really good season. Bit of a breakout season for him and got better as well. Suspended, unfortunately, at the moment. Vitic, Patterson, Doig, Adrian, Garner, Ferguson, Wharton, Naipan, Simmons, Rainier, Eze, Ramsey, Moira. Moira has gone out on loan a couple of times. Jovanovic started this season just like he did last season. Leonardo, Master Antoine, and El Nicaina. That is a squad right there that Everton fans would dream of right now, to be fair. Obviously minus the regens, but some of these players they would love in their team. And if we have a look at the tactics, I've kept it the same. I've tweaked a couple of the player roles. That's all I've done on that one. And if I've not put anybody in for the season, I just want to see how it flows for the final season and what my assistant manager picks. And this is probably what it's going to look like. And look at that little link-up play. Jovanovic, Leonardo, Ramsey, Eze. Master Antoine doesn't even get in the side. Garner, Wharton, Shepherd and Munoz. So that's Branthwaite and Vitic both replaced. Patterson and Doig and Restes. That is Season 5 transfer roundup done. Tactics looked at. Can we win something in Season number 5? Another FA Cup would be nice. Maybe the Champions League. Probably not. But that's a pipe dream. Let's go and find out and see what happens. After the results of last season, this one was full of optimism. Our defence of the FA Cup, though, was halted by Chelsea in the quarter-finals, and it was also Chelsea who dumped us out the Carabao Cup at the same stage. Of course, we were playing with the big kids in the Champions League, and we did well. Beating PSV 4-0 and Napoli 4-0 helped us qualify 13th and into the knockout stages. It was PSV again who we humbled 5-0 on aggregate to go and face Spurs in the round of 16. And it was us who took the humbling this time, as we lost 4-0 to get knocked out at the round of 16 stage. In the league, however, we were phenomenal. Beating Liverpool 5-0, Man City 3-0, Wolves 4-0, and Newcastle 5-1, and only having a small blip between January and February, we kept on marching, and with a final day 3-0 win versus Aston Villa, we secured Everton's first league title since 1987. Well, I didn't see this coming. I'm willing to bet you guys didn't see this coming either. Everton are Premier League champions. That's unreal. That is unreal. And in some sort of weird throwback to the 80s, it was an Everton-Liverpool 1-2. And even though we almost fluffed it at the end of the season, with 2 draws, we could have won it a lot more comfortably. But in our last 5 games, we just about did it. But those draws against Ipswich and Forest almost cost us, because Liverpool were bearing down on us, winning 5 from 5, whooping Wolves 6-0, beating Arsenal as well, and Man City. They were steaming onto us, but we just about did it. Thankfully. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. If we have a look at, actually, I'm just going to have a look at the player overview, see if any of our players made it in. Leonardo and Master Antoine made it into the top goal scorers, joint 5th behind Johan Boni. That's not bad at all. Again, in another weird twist of fate, Florian Wirtz is at Liverpool. Again, not an up-to-date transfer database. That's really weird. Cole Palmer with the most man of the matches. Verbruggen is somehow the top goalkeeper at Arsenal, which is weird. Offside, Jovanovic, not the best one to be in. Team goals, in there, Wharton looks like he was a key player. Let's go and have a look at the squad before we have a look at the other competitions. Squad-wise, 22 and 5 from Master Antoine, 21 and 13 from Jovanovic. Wow, Jovanovic. Oof. He's turned into some player. What a fine for 2.5 million he was. Wow. Master Antoine. Oh, filthy. Filthy, filthy, filthy. He is good. He is good. What a signing. El Nicaina actually got a lot more game time. 17 goals and 7 assists. 17 and 8 from Ramsey. And 17 and 10 from Leonardo. Everybody chipping in. Great assist from Eze again. 12 assists. 9 assists from Adam Wharton. It's the average ratings again. As soon as you get those average ratings and they're playing well, it just turns. Competitions wise as well, obviously we had the Super Cup and we were the runner up in that. We did actually win the Community Shield. Woo-hoo. Quarterfinals of the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, both by Chelsea. That's annoying. And in the Champions League, actually we did give a reasonably good account of ourselves. We qualified into the knockout phase. We got through the knockout rounds, beating PSV 5-0, which was really good. But then we faced Spurs, and they taught us a bit of a lesson, unfortunately, because that hurts, getting beat by Spurs like that. But they actually face Barcelona next, so we probably would have got past them anyway. I'm stoked. I'm absolutely stoked with that. Financially wise, well, things are just looking even worse. Jesus. They've given us another 72 million, which really surprises me, considering the fact that there's still a massive amount of debt. But obviously, with the 5th and final season, it doesn't make that much difference at all. If we have a look at the club info now as well, reputation has gone right up to a 4-star, which is even better. So I'm very, very happy with that. And actually, that league title as well was the 10th league title, so they're into double figures, which is even better. That's not too bad at all. Well, there we have it, guys. That is the 5-year rebuild of Everton, all done and dusted. And I'm going to take that as a whopping great big success. That is an amazing success. A European trophy, a domestic cup, and a league title. Come on, guys. That at least deserves a like and a subscribe onto the channel for me. More of these rebuilds are going to be coming, but next up will be the Athens series that I'm going to be doing because I am off on holiday next month and I'm going to Athens for the week. I'm going to Greece for the week, so I'm doing an Athenian series for the next 5 weeks. Part 1 will be out the week after this one, and then so on and so forth. So make sure you do like this video, make sure you do subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with that content. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you later. Ta-ra.